You're with Julian on the brown note and a quick review, because that's all it deserves. Pile of rubbish that it is. Of the Uncharted movie that came out recently and made $400 million, one of the biggest of the year, one of the biggest of the COVID era, nearly. A film based on a computer game series, and computer game series transferals to cinema have a very, very muddy track record, which isn't necessary. There is no reason. They spend more money, I think, on video games now than they do on movies. And some of these movies video games cost $100 million or more to produce. But they put so much effort into creating characters and worlds and visual design that why don't you just hire someone that can write a script? Look at what was the one? Assassin's Creed. Hardly any Hollywood film has had a cast that good. They spent $200 million or something on the budget. And it was an unwatchable, turgid, 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. All they needed was someone who could write a screenplay and a script. Surely if you're spending $200 million, you can find some out-of-work writer that's actually really good and pay him 50 quid and he will write you a film. So anyway, this one is Tom Holland versus... Well, actually, the director, Ruben Fleischer, hasn't got a good track record. Zombieland was very well received when it came out as a low-budget, zeitgeisty sort of zombie flick. But he's done some bad stuff since then. Gangster Squad, Venom. That's not really a good track record since. So for some reason, they thought that he was great for this. One of the most committee-made films I've ever seen. So we get Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg sparring. Tom Holland is... they're both, expert thieves. Think Red Notice massively here. And Mark Wahlberg is an older thief and Tom Holland's a younger thief, and they team up to try and find Sir Francis Drake's gold bullion from a Spanish expedition, and pursued by Antonio Banderas, who is the heir of the original sort of Medici-like Italian family that feel that they're the heirs to this fortune that used to influence politics and everything in Italy. And Sophia Ali is the female, for being a female, to be the female in the female role. So they do a bit of globetrotting and a bit of, National Treasure style, unlocking these gates and going through passages and doing all of that, and chasing this gold bullion around the world, finding keys. And the number of films being name-checked here is off the charts, mainly like Pirates of the Caribbean sort of thing, but also those Nicolas Cage National Treasure films as well. Now, it's all very amiable and quite, live shot, very colourful, and often, apart from in the sewers when they're chasing around in Italy, but overall pretty pleasant to look at. But there are so many ways this film is dire, and front and centre is the writing. The writing of the story and the screenplay and the characters cannot have been slighter in the acclaimed video game series. They just don't write any character here. And so, the other thing is the script is so bad. They don't have any banter. Mark Wahlberg has proven himself more than capable of being a bantery sort of actor. Tom Holland opposite Robert Downey Jr. Mark Wahlberg opposite half a dozen different people, from Will Ferrell to the Scorsese film Departed. They both can do banter. I have often besmirched Tom Holland a lot, but his charm here is one of the only things sort of noticeable. They don't have any banter. They just look like they're giving barbs to each other, but there aren't any lines there. Sophia Ali doesn't do anything wrong, but no character is written here. The Tati Gabrielle character is just a placeholder, a bookmark. And there's no motivation to anything that happens. The only motivational aspect of the story is the Antonio Banderas character having this family lineage that goes back to Sir Francis Drake, having this huge influence on politics and world events, a Rothschildy sort of thing. So they just kill him. He dies. And that is the only thing that was interesting in the film, was that sort of motivation, because the two leads don't have any, the female lead doesn't have any, and you just took out the only sort of interesting motivation in the whole film, leaving us with the villains led by Tati Gabrielle, who are so just no marks. They're like NPCs in a computer game. It's not without merit, it's not egregious, but I honestly don't understand how this film has got better reviews than something like Red Notice, which had so much more engaging characters and scenes and felt a whole lot more written and put together than this. This is actually less substantial than watching a video game. But I didn't hate it. There were elements of it I found reasonable, if instantly forgettable. So, I mean, I gave Red Notice a good review because I was expecting this film. And instead, I thought, a much more interesting film with much better characters. This is so badly written and poorly directed. There are some saving graces in some of the high energy at times too computer game looking action sequences, and it is an action film above everything else. I almost want to give it a pass purely because the final denouement features something like, if you're going to go hard or go home, the final denouement features two absolutely enormous helicopters as big as like jumbo jets, picking up both these Spanish galleons full of apparently $5 billion worth of gold. I'm not sure on what their takeoff weight is. I would suggest it's probably unfeasible. But they take these massive Spanish galleons full of people and gold up into the air to have an aerial jousting match where the boats are like crashing into each other, suspended from helicopters. And, like a battle at sea where they're jumping over the parapets. And I don't know what parapet is. I've always used that word, but I actually have no idea. So that whole sort of end sequence, I was like, okay, but you did have jousting in the sky with Spanish galleons, which is pretty cool. I actually did like that. It's almost worth coming to the table for. And some of the scenes pass by with enough amusement to keep you going, and not focus on the atrocious writing and the just lack of any character at all in any of the performances, and the lack of any wit that could have sustained it in the script. So, bizarrely, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 for Uncharted. Not because it isn't terrible, it is. It's just because there are some moments in it, such as the enormous Spanish galleon battle in the sky, that I did kind of sit back and go, blimey, who thought that was a good idea? Well, okay, that was a good idea. It was really good. So 5 out of 10 for Uncharted. It's terrible. Don't watch it.